Hi everyone, it's Patty from Getty Things. I hope that you'll like and subscribe if you feel so led. I'm fulfilling a promise, at least one part of a three-part promise, to come back and talk about some of the top things that people are using for YouTube, for videos, and how they can apply to a small channel like mine and maybe like yours. So I have researched slash used these things or attempted to use them to see how they categorize. And so I'm going to be dealing with some pretty disparate or different purposes for these apps, but I think it's one of the things that's important is when you get into something like making YouTube videos, you don't always know exactly what all the jargon means. Like if you hear, and part of that jargon can be the kinds of apps that people use to create videos, and understanding how they're different at the very beginning can seem overwhelming. So I took 9. It's another video that I will link to this one where I said, I want to find out about these. These are just ones that keep coming up, and I want to find out what they do and how they do it. So for some people, if you're an experienced YouTuber, this might not be the video for you. But if you're like me and you're a creator with a small channel that you're looking to grow the community for, this might be helpful. The first thing I looked at was YouTube Studio. I don't know how we could do what we do without YouTube Studio. I've made some notes, so occasionally I'll be putting the glasses back on and looking at my notes. But YouTube Studio does the following. You ready? Provides video analytics, video management, and audience interaction. So you really can't, I'm going to get something off my phone. You really can't do what you do with YouTube without YouTube Studio, not effectively. And it's really helpful and part of the process. But other cool things about YouTube Studio, I can say it, about you, cool things about YouTube Studio are subject verb agreement, that there's also lots of different content creators in the content area of YouTube Studio to give you information about what they do. It's bite-sized pieces, it's manageable, but it is the engine that drives your YouTube channel. It allows you to see who's watching what's done better than other things, how much engagement you have, and also this is the vehicle through which you may be able to monetize, right? And so that's something that can really be helpful when you go to that screen. You view your analytics, you can scroll down and get to that earn button and see what you have to do to earn and how close you are, how far away you are, depending on how you want to look at it, half full, half empty, to the goals that you've set for yourself. Like I have a goal and I hope I surpass it, but within the first 6 months of my channel, I'd like to have 100 subscribers. That's maybe doable, maybe not. Maybe I have to change that goal, but YouTube Studio helps me figure out how I'm working towards those goals and how I can do a better job. I've gotten help in understanding how shorts are utilized and what they actually do for your channel. So the short videos that you make instead of the long form videos, getting some things in shorts has helped me to see, as YouTube Studio promised me it would, how people interact with certain kinds of content. This may be repetitive from what I said before, I apologize. But like when I post about our cats or when I post about going on hauls for, it's not always a haul with me, it's a browse and look and buy a little bit. It's usually what it is for the Dollar Tree or for thrift stores. So that's YouTube Studio is kind of fundamental. You can't do much without that. And we are YouTube creators, so that's the point. So it is a comprehensive tool. It's something that you use. I'm just looking again at my jotted notes. And it's absolutely 100% designed for that purpose so that you can manage your content, engage with the audience, view your analytics, that sort of thing. So it's kind of the one I started with because you can't really do much without YouTube video. The next thing I had talked about in the original video, linked out in this video, is DaVinci Resolve. And it is impressive. The free level is impressive. Of course, YouTube video is, or just YouTube Studio is free completely with your use of YouTube and as a channel creator. But I'm going to tell you right now, DaVinci Resolve looks really cool. But here's something that I want to differentiate. YouTube Studio has the purposes I mentioned. DaVinci Resolve is an editing tool. That's what it's for. And it's a really sophisticated one. And I have to be honest, I'm not using it right now to create. I am looking at it and I'd like to learn, but there is a learning curve involved. A little bit more information on DaVinci Resolve as an editing tool, if I can get my glasses on. So it allows you video editing. It provides advanced editing tools such as multi-track editing, transitions, and effects. It is especially good for high quality video projects. That's one of the things that it can help. And it offers like a timeline based editor, and you can also collaborate with other people based on that. And it lets you control every aspect of the video, and even more so in the pay version. But the free version has tons of cool, I mean, even a collaboration tool where you can work with other people in the free version. So it is about video editing, and involved in that will be color grading. It's something I don't completely understand the mechanics of, but I understand the overall concept. And it's one of the features that people like the most about DaVinci Resolve, I found in my research and also in just playing around with it. So the software provides you with this really drilled down and precision control over the color gradation, which really means just the aesthetic, how it looks, the visual aesthetic of your video, right? So it's, if people want to give their content a really professional and cinematic look, this is one of the ways to do it. And again, there is this robust free version. The thing for me is going to be the learning curve, because it is something you have to learn how to do, DaVinci Resolve as an editing tool. YouTube Studio is also something as an audience engagement, video management, analytic type of tool that takes a little learning to do, but not as much as DaVinci Resolve. And of course, they're for two different things. I described what YouTube Studio is for, and then DaVinci Resolve is for editing and complete artistic control over how your videos look to people. So if that is something that interests you, maybe you get in and set some goals for yourself about learning how to use that specific kind of language, vernacular that allows you to understand how color grading and things like that work. And again, color grading is the thing that people came back to again and again in reviews, and that I saw as one of the strongest points of DaVinci Resolve is the ability to control how the colors look in your video and how cinematic you make your video. In other words, how much production value there is in it. It seems like DaVinci Resolve can give you production value for less effort than some of the other industry standards, but it is an industry standard, so it's important to know that. We're going to move on to Canva. After I point out that when I asked folks and when I looked up things for DaVinci about how helpful DaVinci is to small YouTube creators, most people considered it kind of moderately helpful because of people who want to push their production values. But if that is never going to be something that you're interested in, then probably DaVinci Resolve is not for you. And I had a very helpful fellow YouTuber who came to encourage me in a comment. Thank you so much. Shout out to you, to help me figure out, you know, what some of these things had looked like to them. And honestly, spot on with the comment. It was spot on. But just, I think the thing that I pull out of DaVinci Resolve is if you really want to get serious about production value, that's something that's important to you or important to your channel, that's something that would be worth taking the time to learn. Now I'll move on to Canva, as I said I was going to. So the function of Canva is it's a graphic design, and I apologize for the glare in the glasses, but I'm going to have that a little bit, that really kind of super simplifies creating visual effects on your YouTube channel. And that can be visual effects as you think of them, like transitions and things like that. But it's also things like end screens. I actually am probably going to be adding to this video the end screen that I created last night actually, in just a few minutes using Canva. I do have a paid account to Canva still. I re-upped that because I use it in instructional design as well. And it just, when I went back to look at Canva for the purposes of sharing in this video, it was so obviously something that I wanted the paid subscription again. I believe for me, it's something like $14.95 a month, but don't quote me on that. It may change over time, and it also may not be the same for everybody right now. I had a little snack and some of it's showing back up. I apologize. That's gross. So anyhow, um, one of the things that you can do, here's some small channel applications, some notes that I made through, again, using it and then looking at other people's experiences. Eye-catching thumbnails. This is a big thing that people mention when using it. They look very professional and very produced, but it's based on a template. And there are lots and lots of choices in the template. There's a drag and drop functionality, if you're familiar with that, the ability to drag things over and put them where you want them and not have to resize too much, not have to do too much cropping. You can just bring those images in, and you can bring anything in your image library into it. These pre-designed templates that I mentioned earlier are so helpful because they're quick and they're easy. Last night, literally in like a minute and a half, I had picked out the template and created what I wanted to by putting things in my library on Canva that I could use in that. And I had some stuff left over from when I had used it professionally before. Then, channel art and branding. I don't know how you feel about this, but branding was super important to me early on. And as I mentioned or wrote on the screen in another video, I initially went into Fiverr to buy brand material. And so I went into Fiverr, which is something I'll make another video about. It's Fiverr, where you can contract out work for people who are willing to do that work for you. And so I contracted out my Giddy Things logo because there was a specific look I wanted, and I got it. Kind of the cottagey, cozy look. And I specifically wanted it to have certain, I guess what we call now, again, cottage core kind of things in it. And so I was able to specify that, even down to I wanted it to be one long thing with the cursive style and lowercase letters. That was important to me as well, but a bigger G on Giddy Things. Just I was able to really be specific about that. Now, a lot of the people on Fiverr are using artificial intelligence, but they give you a license to it and they make certain promises and you pay for it. I think the whole package, it was a big investment for me. The whole package cost about $90, but it's mine forever. I have the copyright to it and the licensing to it, so that's helpful. Okay, I digressed. That was all to get back into Canva. Once you have that stuff, you can import it into Canva and use it. And so for me, the branding and recognizability, if it's a word, I think so, recognition factor for people coming back to the channel and deciding to become members of my channel community is an important thing for folks to be able to look and go, okay, that's who that is with that logo. And so that's important. And that is part of what Canva can do for you, even without going into Fiverr and doing what I did. It can be helpful just to use the templates and what's already existing in Canva. It looks very professional. And it doesn't have that look about it where it goes, oh, they made this in Canva. It's just an end screen or an intro screen, and you can customize it and make it yours as much as you want to. Another thing, in addition to the thumbnail design, the channel art and branding associated with your channel, is the social media graphics. This can be something that's difficult for people to navigate when they're first getting into YouTube. And the notes I made is that it's helpful for creating social media posts which can be shared to promote your videos and grow your audience. Canva has specific things in their search bar. If you put up YouTube grow my video, it might take you to a little how-to article, or it might bring you directly to something that you can use as a template for even for the shorter videos, like the shorts that you use for engagement. So Canva overall is something that I think is pretty essential to small channel creators. And when I asked and when I researched, one of the things I found out was that its helpfulness for small YouTube creators is at a high level. That if the Canva is, and there's not the learning curve that's associated with DaVinci Resolve. This tool for us, for small YouTube creators, doesn't really have access to expensive graphic design or the kinds of things that you can get to be filmic and professional in DaVinci Resolve, but it creates, and I hope the difference is understandable the way I'm explaining it anyway, it creates professional looking material. So maybe you're not creating with DaVinci Resolve at a level where you really understand how to edit in that particular app, but you're creating things that have been made by people who know how to do that, if that makes sense. So it's a shortcut to getting to some of those professional looking materials. And so overall, I would say with Canva, that's probably one of the most important things, along with ease of use and access, is its professional look without having to learn an entirely new software application or app system to do those things. So again, I don't know how quickly I'm going to, or if I'll ever have a real need for DaVinci Resolve, but Canva has me sold. There are things that I can do there that I know I couldn't create on my own. And to be honest, the color gradations do not matter that much to me, as is probably obvious at this point if you've been on the channel with me for a little while. So, and I don't think my audience is either. If my audience were saying, you know, I'd really like to see something more professional, or if I made something that just went viral because of how professional it happened to be, I might do that. I might put more of my time and energy, but we have limited time and energy to put into things like DaVinci Resolve. So Canva kind of scratches that itch for me, metaphorically speaking, right? So I hope that this has been helpful. I want to end with sort of the comparison, the drilled down comparison that I made. And so it's about feature and function, right? So across YouTube, Studio, DaVinci Resolve, and Canva, and then the next video I make about this will be the next 3 things that I talked about in the original video where I said I was going to invest some time in these things. So the main function of YouTube Studio is channel management and video analytics, if you just boil it all down. For DaVinci Resolve, it's professional video editing. I mean, like you could make a movie and this stuff. If you're interested in short film creation and things like that, wouldn't that be fun? Maybe I will be interested in that someday. And then for Canva, it's graphic design, thumbnails, channel art, etc. And I think, you know, YouTube Studio, you have to use it in YouTube, and it's good. I like it. And then DaVinci is something, again, that's a little bit up beyond what I'm shooting for right now, as far as film shooting for right now. And then graphic design, Canva has got that cornered for me until and unless I find something that works better and more efficiently for me. Ease of use, YouTube Studio, I think, is easy to use for beginners. There's a little bit of a learning curve, but it's all pretty intuitive. There is a steep learning curve with DaVinci Resolve. Steep. I mean, and it's an investment. I think it's a valuable investment, but it's not one that I know will be germane to what I'm doing right now, or powerful for what I'm doing right now, maybe in the future, especially if I decide to make short films, because I put that in my mind and now I can't stop thinking about it. And then Canva is so easy to use. It's literally drag and drop, adding things to the gallery. I find Canva a little bit more self-explanatory than YouTube Studio was to begin with, just to be honest. But again, YouTube Studio is, you got to have it if you're a YouTuber, and they've done a good job at creating something to help us grow as small users. Video editing capability for these things. You know, YouTube Studio has some basic video editing stuff. They don't really tout themselves as the thing that you want to primarily use for that. Again, with DaVinci Resolve, you've got that advanced video editing, color grading, effects, anything that you can think of. Again, you can literally make a movie in it. And then in Canva, there's really no video editing capability. It's all about graphic design, which I needed. I needed that to be in a silo by itself. So that's really helpful. Can you tell I like Canva? Then when we move on to the audience interaction, oh my gosh, YouTube Studio is so great at letting you moderate your comments, which becomes, I think, even more important as you get larger. It's already been important for me, but as you get to be a larger channel, if that's something that's a blessing that occurs to me, it'll be even more important. And engagement, learning how my community feels about the different content and things that I can do to make people feel like they've used their time well by coming to my channel. So DaVinci Resolve doesn't have any interaction features. It's for editing. That's what it's for. And again, some of you may be going, duh, I already knew that. I didn't already know that. So I know there are some other people who didn't already know that too. And probably if you've gotten this far in the video, you didn't know that. Or you're trying to learn more. You may have known that part. So Canva, of course, no audience interaction tools whatsoever, because it is all about graphic design, and that's why. For cost, YouTube Studio is absolutely free for the foreseeable future. It's included with YouTube. It's when you get your channel going, that's something that you automatically have access to. If you didn't know this already, because I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know this immediately. YouTube Studio is something that's best done for me from the phone that I have and whatever. The best version of it is the desktop version or the laptop version when you're actually on a computer. For me, you may have some really fancy phone that I don't understand, and that's fantastic. I'm so happy for you. But for me, it's just the functionality is different in a mobile app as opposed to being online. So it's absolutely free. Then, just to make sure I'm being, accurate, I'm looking at my notes. There's a basic version of DaVinci that's really impressive for free. I think that's one of the reasons that I wanted to look at it, is because a lot of the things that are super expensive after are not, and I'm not saying it's super expensive, but are super expensive after, the free version is not necessarily robust. And the free version of, if you're interested in DaVinci Resolve is robust and allows way more than I thought it would, which is impressive to me. But I think we're in an era where there's a lot more shareware and freeware, and so the places that cost money have a really big competitive force to work against to try to get their product sold. I think you have to give people more now, since there's all kinds of neat things. If you're interested in digital media, things like Blender that are, and there's a whole bunch of shareware that you can use instead of Adobe products. And so that stuff is out there. People have to be competitive. And I think that DaVinci Resolve is being good and competitive with that, with their freeware. And then for Canva, it's free with paid options, right? You can use the free one and be fine. I just knew I'd be using it a lot, and I wanted access to the pro templates, but they're very straightforward about what's pro and what's not. I think it's a fair price, and especially if you're going to be using it a lot, I think it will pay off in the long run. Or you may decide that you want to use it and then scale back to the free version once you've used some of that pro stuff. I don't know how that works because I haven't tried it, but it's something that's a thought to go with. And then my whole thing was, what is the purpose of this stuff for small creators? And here are the notes that I made. YouTube Studio is absolutely essential. You can't do without it for performance analysis and management. And thank you, YouTube, for providing that, because I can foresee platforms that wouldn't do that wouldn't give you that would expect you to pay for things. But YouTube is driven by its content, so it's sort of a symbiotic relationship in a good way, I think. Then DaVinci Resolve, high quality editing, it's super useful as a purpose for small creators if you already have some knowledge about editing tools, and if you want to be that cinematic with your work. It's a little complex for beginners, but it's something that we definitely could learn if we gave it the time and if we felt like we needed to invest that time. And then Canva, I'm going to give an excellent A++++ for visuals, especially with thumbnails and branding. I don't know that there's anything else. Let me know if you think there is, and I'll go look at it. That's as good at Canva as those discrete things that it does or allows you to do, to be clear. So those are the three for the first video. I hope this information was helpful. Again, I'm coming from the perspective of a small creator, and I'm assuming an audience that wants to know these things and doesn't know them necessarily, or doesn't know all of them necessarily, because that's how I approached YouTube. And so all I can do is come from my own perspective, as promised in the title. I hope you are having a wonderful day, evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Please comment, subscribe, like if you feel like liking, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to discuss or things that you think I should know, and I will be so grateful, as I always am, just for the gift of your time. Thank you for being you. Know how loved you are, and go in peace and love to serve others.